Our journey to Montenegro started in Belgrade, which was the first stop on our Balkan adventure. We jumped on one of the city's free buses and made our way to the train station, ready for what many people consider one of Europe's most scenic railway journeys. Of course, no travel day is complete without a little confusion. Every information board in the station was out of service, so after a quick trip to the information desk, we found the right platform, managed to avoid getting on the wrong train, and finally settled into our seats.
We're 2 hours into the train journey and we've made a friend.
Nice to meet you. I'm Jordan from Serbia.
Jordan was super nice and gave us a bunch of food recommendations we had to try and places we had to visit.
A lot of beautiful places and in the Serbia, but you will see Montenegro is the same and Balkan is the beautiful. You need to stay couple weeks, couple of months. Good luck and see you again.
The railway from Belgrade to Bar is often considered one of Europe's most scenic railway journeys, and it didn't take long to see why. The route passes through nearly 300 tunnels and over 400 bridges as it winds from Serbia into the mountains of Montenegro.
So we have about 40 minutes left of this ride until we have to go and do a change to another train. Yeah, it's been pretty spectacular. Like, all of the views are just beautiful. It's pretty much what I would describe as the Switzerland of the Balkans.
About halfway through, we changed onto a completely different train. The first was super modern and comfortable, but the second felt like something straight out of Harry Potter, with private cabins, old red seats, and loads of character.
Is everyone just sat in random seats?
They sit random, yeah.
Random.
One thing we found quite funny was that even though everyone had allocated seats, people just seemed to sit wherever they wanted. As we climbed higher into the mountains, the scenery just kept getting better. It's easy to see why this railway has earned its reputation. A common thread through our journey in the Balkans so far has been people's kindness. Not long after changing trains, another lady started chatting to us, shared some of her snacks, and spent the rest of the journey telling us all about Montenegro. And although the journey was over 12 hours long, it felt like it went by in a flash.
This was the train that we were on.
We made it to Podgorica! Hey.
After spending our first night in Montenegro's capital, we made our way to the seaside and booked a tour to explore some of the country's most iconic coastal towns. Our first stop was Kotor.
So yeah, we paid 40 euros to go on a 12-hour tour of Montenegro. So this is where the tour starts. They've released us to go in roam for about, 40 minutes or so. This is incredible. This is exactly like what the photos show.
As we wandered through Kotor's old town, it felt like we stepped back in time. The streets were incredibly narrow, lined with old stone buildings, hidden courtyards that all seemed to blend into one another. Every corner felt just as charming as the last.
What are your first impressions of Montenegro so far?
Very old, very sunny, and full of stone. They love their stone.
Then we started noticing the cats. They seemed to be everywhere. It turned out that they're pretty much the unofficial mascot of Kotor. Centuries ago, when it was an important Venetian port, cats helped protect the town by keeping rats and snakes away, and today they seem as a symbol of good luck. Our tour guide even told us that if you buy a cat souvenir, it's supposed to bring you luck, and if it doesn't, you got a faulty one and you need to come back and exchange it. We got a little peckish, so we stopped off for a burek and of course a coffee, and we carried on exploring the old town.
Coffee's actually not bad.
Looking up at Kotor's city walls, it's hard to imagine how they were ever built. They climb high up into the mountainside and have been protecting the town for centuries. Before long, it was time for the next part of our tour, and we climbed aboard on a boat to explore the Bay of Kotor from the water. As we pulled away from the harbour, it honestly didn't feel real. Huge mountains rose straight out of the water, with tiny stone villages tucked along the shoreline. It felt more like a Norwegian fjord than somewhere in the Adriatic coast, and it was one of those places where you feel like you're in a real-life postcard.
It's like a magical dream. I think we've already made our 40 euros worth of this trip because the views have been insane. You get about 12 hours of this.
Our next stop was one of the Bay of Kotor's most famous landmarks, Our Lady of the Rocks. Despite looking like a natural island, it's actually completely man-made. Local legend says that sailors found an icon of the Virgin Mary here, and for centuries afterwards, people would throw rocks into the bay after every successful voyage, slowly creating the island that is still here today. From there, we headed to the Blue Cave, famous for its glowing blue water.
We were told to hurry up and buy our tickets because there was only 30 spots left. And I'm not sure if you guys are able to count, but there's definitely more than 30 people on this boat.
As we headed towards the cave, the water around us turned the most incredible shade of blue. By the time we arrived in the cave, all I wanted to do was just jump in the water and go for a swim. Around 20 years ago, that was actually possible, but as the Blue Cave became more and more popular, new rules were introduced. The boats are now only allowed to stay inside the cave for up to 5 minutes before moving on to make room for the next one. Our final stop was Herceg Novi, a charming coastal town sitting right at the entrance of the Bay of Kotor. It's often called the City of Steps because of the hundreds of staircases connecting its old street, and after wandering around for a while, we completely understood why. Just like everywhere else we visited that day, it was another beautiful place to explore. Before we knew it, we were heading back across the bay. Overall, the tour was a brilliant way to see some of Montenegro's most famous places in a single day, and it gave us a much better feel for the country than if we had stayed in one place the whole time.
And now we all are gonna have to catch the bus back to wherever we came from, which was Budva for us.
We spent the rest of our time in Montenegro based in Budva. There was no denying it's a beautiful place. The old town is full of character. The promenade comes alive in the evening, the water is crystal clear, and the sunsets were some of the best we'd seen on our trip. But, if we're being completely honest, it wasn't quite what we were looking for. We visited right in the middle of summer, so naturally people flocked to the coast, and Budva was no exception. It had much more of a holiday resort feel than we expected. Because we're travelling for months at a time, we usually find ourselves drawn to places where we can slow down a little and get a feel for everyday life. Budva just wasn't that place for us. That said, if you're looking for beaches, nightlife, and somewhere with a really lively atmosphere, we can completely understand why so many people choose to stay here. With that, our time in Montenegro has come to an end. If you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. Next up, we're crossing the border into Albania to see if the coastline really lives up to all the hype.